The Three Body Problem. So if you're a serial Netflixer like me, I'm sure you probably have it in your list. Scroll by it, thought it looked interesting, maybe haven't watched it yet. It's amazing. Out front rating, 8-ish. I can tell you already, season 2 has been greenlit already. The show came out, I want to say March 21st. Season 2 was greenlit this month. The Three Body Problem is based on a book, or a trilogy of books rather, by a Chinese author. I will not butcher his name. I tried for 20 minutes to pronounce that man's name. I can't do it. Furthermore, the show creators, the American version, because there was a Chinese version that came out last year. The American version, like I said, came out this year. There were 3 creators, none of whom's names I can pronounce. So I won't try to do that either. The show's pretty good. I enjoyed it. It took me, like I said, it came out in March. I just started watching it 3 weeks ago. Finished it in about 2 weeks between other shows and gaming, etc. So a description of what the Three Body Problem is, in case you don't know, which I'm sure the average person does not know. Let me tell you how I found out what the Three Body Problem was. I wasn't even researching the situation. I was just scrolling YouTube. What is that scientist's name? It's Tyson something. Anyway, the Three Body Problem. Imagine you have a planet or a large star. 3 of them. 3 of, mix and match. Each of them, depending on how large they are going to have that. Well, to my knowledge, which is limited when it comes to physics, every thing out there really is going to have its own gravitational pull. But the mass of whatever that body is determines how large that gravitational force or pull is. In the Three Body Problem situation, you have generally it's 2 planets and 1 very large star, or 1 planet and 2 very large stars. Let's say, for example, you had Earth and 2 suns. 2 suns the size of the sun that we already have. Scientifically, like, this is not theory, scientifically, you cannot solve the Three Body Problem because you can never predict what each of those bodies is going to do at any given time. You may be able to predict it for like a very short period, but you can't indefinitely determine what's going to happen. Scientifically, by nature, the Three Body Problem is chaotic, and it will forever be chaotic. That's pretty much the largest plot point or issue in the show. Let me go a little bit deeper. I don't think I explained that well enough. The situation is, let's put 1 body in the middle, 1 here, right? They're not going to rotate or revolve or whatever you want to call it in like a perfect figure 8. That's not what's going to happen. Because of the fact that each of them has their own gravitational pull, anything could happen. That's why it can't be solved. That's why no one will ever know past a certain amount of time what those 3 bodies are going to do. Okay. As I said, that's pretty much the biggest issue in the show. Now, I won't tell you what system the Three Body Problem is an issue for, because I don't want to give any spoilers. But it's pretty significant. The stars of the show, there's so many of them, and then there's so many new faces that I haven't seen. The first face that everyone's probably going to recognize is Benedict Wong. Benedict Wong plays Wong in the MCU. Doctor Strange's right-hand man. That Wong. He's a detective of sorts in the show. The show is basically about 5 or so scientists, and Wong, of course, trying to figure out various scientific situations. I'm trying to be really careful because everybody's different when it comes to spoilers. So sometimes you don't know what a spoiler might be for one person versus another person. So I try to be as careful as I possibly can. The show, it's, when you look it up, they say it's an American show. But episodes 1, 2, and 3, maybe just 1 and 2 are primarily in China. Episodes 3 or 4, 5, 6, and maybe 7 are all in Europe. And then episode 8, which is the final episode of the season, is in America. I know I left out a buttload more characters, but again, so many of them I don't know. I haven't even seen before. There's a guy, Liam Cunningham is his name. I've seen him in a lot of things. I just don't. You know those actors that you feel like when you see him, you're like, I know I've seen this dude in something. And when you finally look him up, he's got like a hell of a resume, but you just, off the top of your head, you cannot remember. But like I said, his name's Liam Cunningham. He's pretty good in the show. There's another woman. I want to say her name's, I guarantee I'm about to mix up her movie name. Her name is Augie Salazar in the show. I think her real name, her first name is Isa. It's like Eiza. But I cannot remember her last name. But she's got a crazy resume. Alita Battle Angel. From Dusk Till Dawn, the show. Bloodshot with Vin Diesel. I really want to say she was in one of the Bad Boys movies, but I think I'm wrong there. It's a movie. I know she was in Baby Driver. I don't think she was in either of the Bad Boys movies. I'm mixing her up with somebody else. So in a nutshell, if you're looking for a decent show to watch, something that's going to keep your attention, I will say this though, just as a warning, because I know not everybody likes gory things. The entire show is not that way, but I want to say maybe episode 6 or 7 is pretty, I don't even want to use the word bloody because the blood, it wasn't even like blood. It was just weird. I don't know. But just be aware of that. There is a bit of gore, based on who you are and how you describe it in one of the latter or later episodes. Overall, I really enjoyed the show. The first episode was kind of slow. There was some mystery. There were a couple of parts that made me say, I wonder what that's about. I wonder what this is. Because I knew what the 3-body problem was, like the actual scientific 3-body problem, because I knew what that was before I watched the show, that's pretty much what I was waiting on. I was waiting for that to actually become an issue, which I don't think we find out until maybe episode 4 or 5. We don't even hear the 3-body problem outside of the title until maybe episode 4 or 5. I really enjoyed it though. The mystery is great. And then with the main cast being, comprised of 6 or so people, there's constant conflict. Each person has their own arcs where they start in one place and then by the end of the season they end in another place. There's internal conflict with each of them. And each of them also has a conflict with one or more other people. Then you have the major conflict of the 3-body problem that they end up getting into at a different point. one of my favorite things about the show is that everybody is essentially a genius. They're all extremely smart in their own ways. And one thing that I love is intelligence, just pure intelligence. I'm nowhere near as smart as, not even close to, what they showed in the show, but it's amazing to see that, because whoever wrote this stuff, like I said, the Chinese gentleman who wrote the books, right? The show, of course, is based on his work. So his imagination and what he thought about. And just as a quick note, my favorite thing about cinema, whether that's TV shows or movies, my favorite thing is whether a project is good or bad, or if you're indifferent about the project, it's amazing what can come from another person's mind. I've seen movies that I just did not like at all, but I'm still amazed at the fact that another person could think of something that I would have never thought of, ever. And that works in various different ways. And it's in that same way with this show. The level of research that had to go into writing those novels, and even the live action adaptation, you have to be on another level of cognitive function to even be able to pull this off. This show is really genius. But anyway, enough of that. Go watch The Three-Body Problem. If you're looking for something new to watch, it is worthy. I'd be willing to bet money that so many of you have been intending to watch that show, but you just haven't pulled the trigger yet because you don't know what the three-body problem is, like the actual three-body problem. It sounds weird. I know when it first came out, I was like, three-body problem? What in the world? But like I said, at that time, I didn't know what that was. But when I ran across it on YouTube, and then I started watching the show some weeks after that. But again, go watch it.